boats like crashed all over the place in rivers and on the beaches. And the boats are beautiful and they're crashed. Like they're just like sunk in water. It blew me away. So I got a stack of bronze. I got a stack of wood and a bunch of junk too. And then we looked at it and we're like, hey, what can we do with this? What watch parts can I make? What other products can I make? And just started like searching around to try to find the craftsmen in Thailand to help us.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to a special edition of the Tea Room. First of all, let me introduce our wonderful panel. On my left shoulder, we have Andy. Good evening,
Hey.
Andy.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
And below me, we have Palm. Good evening, Palm.
Good evening, John. Good evening, everyone.
So tonight, our special guest is Matthew Harkins from a company in California called Seiki Crafts. So I'm just going to bring him into the stream. Hello, and good evening, Matthew. Good morning to you there in California. How are you doing?
How's it going, boys? Yeah, doing good, thanks. I just got back to the beach, from the beach, so I'm a little scruffy.
No, nice. It's okay for some.
I know the style. I know the style.
All
That's
good.
Great. We're just going to talk to you about your business. I'll let one of the other guys take over.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely, yes. So I think coming from like what we know about your brand, it all comes from the inspiration of the ocean, right? And the responsibility of making the ocean a cleaner environment and being more environmentally friendly, which I think is really important and for the marine life protection. So I think it'd be just good to tell our viewers just where that inspiration and passion came from. And yeah, and how did that lead into making watches? Like, it's one thing to want to protect the ocean, but then it's another thing, how do you turn that into a project, what goes into watches, which I think is really fascinating.
Yeah, thanks. And that's pretty much the whole story, is sort of like one guy's take on how to live surfing. I've been a lifelong surfer, and like I just mentioned to you guys, I just got back from the beach. I was with my son and his school training. Like it's crazy life out here. They get to actually go to PE or go surfing for PE instead of going to school. So there's no field hockey or anything like that.
Nice.
Really cool.
That's how deep surfing is into the culture here. And I grew up surfing. My first job was sweeping the floors in a surfboard factory when I was in college. And I, at the same time, like surfing, the manufacturing behind surfing is such a craft, and there's so many parallels to the attention to detail that go into watchmaking. My career just kind of led me in and out of surfing and building surfboards and other kinds of products like sunglasses and wetsuits. Being both involved in the marketing side and the manufacturing side, you see how dirty the back end of something you love is in terms of manufacturing, byproduct, wasted product, toxicity of things. All that just sort of like came together at the same time I'm surfing, and you just sort of like accept this stewardship of like, hey, I want to make sure my beach is clean.
Yeah.
When you're traveling for manufacturing, you see all the beaches all over the world. So many of them are just wrecked. This brand is really sort of like just an observation of all that, and it's not really a critique or anything. It's just saying like, how do we find all these materials that kind of are still pretty good, don't need to be where they are in the ocean, get them out, turn them into new products that are interesting, but also like really well made, never suggesting that like, oh, because it's got recycled parts, it shouldn't do everything it needs to do as a watch. That's kind of a lot of the storytelling that's going on with this brand, and it gives us like a pretty open platform to just be experimental as long as our end product is super high quality. And hopefully our first collection, so far the response on that is pretty good. So I'm pretty happy about it.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. So, Matt, I wanted to ask you, so in your watches, you use recycled metals from the propellers from boats, old boats, and also fish nets. You use the material from a material from the fish net into putting into the link and the links in the bracelet of your watches. So when we first heard of your brand on the show with Giuseppe Marasco, which the book I have here, which is also
quick
nice
plug
little profile on your company there. Yeah.
Cool.
But,
yeah.
How did you think of that idea of using those? Because the first thing that popped into my head, I'm not sure, maybe with the viewers and everyone else, what made you isolate those items that were the ones you were going to use in your watches, and what was the first point that triggered you to say, yes, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah. So let's see. I'll start with the bronze. So traveling throughout Thailand, doing sourcing for a previous watch company that I worked for. It's called Original Grain. They made watches out of wood and steel. I did some pretty cool sourcing travel over there, and I noticed all over the coastline. So on the weekends, I also bone out to the beach and just hang out and go diving and stuff. There's all these amazing boats like crashed all over the place in rivers and on the beaches, and the boats are beautiful and they're crashed, like they're just like sunk in water. It blew me away. And I was like asking my friend who was taking me around, like, can we get these boats? Like literally just find the owner and buy them just so they're not crashed right there on the in the harbor or wherever they are.
Yeah.
And he's in the surfing community there. He asked around and we found the owners pretty easily, and they were willing to part with the boats for a fair price. So we just started buying them.
Awesome.
And they come with wood, they come with bronze, I mean the propellers that come with them. And I knew there was like really good material in it. Like there's great wood, and we're able to make like this really nice reclaimed box out of it.
Wow.
Yep.
This is the box that
Look at
That's
our watch
beautiful,
comes in.
That's
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah, that's it. Perfect, right there.
And that's recycled wood, is it? That's actually
this
recycled
is all
wood from
these
those boats.
From the
Yeah,
boats.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Incredible.
I mean, this is the paint. So like not every box is the same. Some of them don't even have paint on them, but the wood's this beautiful ironwood. You know, the boats are 30, 40 years old. They're basically just coming offline where the owners don't want to put the money in that it takes, or who knows, you know, what the backstory is for why it's just abandoned. But it was like a problem that nobody wanted to solve over there. Like these boats, some of them have been there for years, just like leaching into the water, and it's not good stuff. Like they don't necessarily take the engine out and clean it out. They just leave it.
Yeah.
So like they looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, "What do you want to buy this boat for?" I'm like, if the first few guys, I started actually telling them the story, and then afterwards, like I just was like, I'm just gonna make stuff with it. Don't worry about it. And then they kind of leave me alone and like get to the price, and and so we just basically just had the same guys that fix boats. This was in 2019, right before COVID. You know, they still had a lot of jobs. But then right when COVID hit, they had no jobs at all, and they totally wanted to help us, which was great. So the same guys that fix the boats, we hired them to take all this stuff apart and just separate the materials. So I got a stack of bronze, I got a stack of wood, and a bunch of junk too. And then we looked at it and we're like, hey, what can we do with this? What watch parts can I make? What other products can I make? And just started like searching around to try to find the craftsmen in Thailand to help us do it. it was actually not that hard to get the bronze melted down. They got a pretty good like metal industry there. Super nice guy, like helped us turn it all into ingots, and then we at the same time we were doing our product design, so the
Yeah.
the bronze bars basically just shipped to a case factory to get tooled. And what's great is this is like that's why our bronze looks so different than pretty much any other company's bronze watch. Those guys are all using like a super purified, highly refined like industry bronze, and they think that's awesome. We're kind of like taking this sort of rough bronze, not over refining it, and we get a lot of porosity and sort of different effects within the case, within every volume of the bronze. But in the end, the bronze is super stable, so it's not like using this bronze your watch is ever going to fall apart. It doesn't affect any of the performance issues of the watch. And I was kind of laughing about it because even our suppliers were like, "You're giving me this junky bronze," and I'm like, "It's not junky. It's got character." And so it's a lot of what I do. It kind of comes down to like just sort of seeing things my way, and then some of it has to do with convincing other people to like help me do it, suppliers and stuff like that. And then the fishing net. Sorry to go back to that one. That's same thing. The whole place is littered in fishing net. I mean, there's just trash everywhere, and same group of guys are like, "Can we just pay some people to like help us collect all that stuff off the beach and then get ahead of it to the fishermen and say, hey, we'll buy this from you for this amount of money instead of just throwing it away." And it was a no-brainer for that too. And making it's really similar to like forged carbon fiber. If you want to just think about it from a process standpoint, like that's not anything proprietary. It's a reinforcement substrate inside of a binding resin, so if you do it right, it works like carbon fiber. And you've got every level of carbon fiber in the market too, but there's some really nice watches being made with carbon fiber.
Did you have to learn how long did it take to learn the process to be able to get a fishing net and make it into something that looks correct on a watch? I mean, I wouldn't know where to start. Your background sound like a surfer background. Have you got an engineering background that enabled you to process that information of getting a net and making it into a watch product? Because I wouldn't know where to bloody start.
I don't. I actually have a fine art degree, so I'm like basically a liar in 5 different graphic languages. But
creative,
making surfboards. Surfboards is super technical, and the work with the resins and the polymers comes straight from that kind of work, and just understanding laminations and reinforcements and mixing that with different types of resins and polymers. I also spent 10 years making sunglasses that were both handmade and injected. Did a fair bit of work in like protective gear for motorcycles, and watches for 10 years. A lot of that just all blends together in the work I'm doing now.
Right.
So you actually knew that I'm going to use this I can use this. Okay.
Yeah, I literally, it just, like I said, I don't even want this to be a mystery. I want other people to be able to do this so that it just is an easy thing to help clean up the world. So it's as simple as taking fiberglass cloth, replacing that with fishing net as your substrate and your reinforcement. And then I'm using the same epoxy resins that they use in jewelry, but also in high-end surfboards. And epoxy is, against a lot of other resins in the market, a lot more sustainable. It's still got a long way to go, but this is part of that process of refining and getting even more into biodegradable and eco-friendly epoxies. I did already kind of know even before I had done it, I kind of had already done it. So I was like, these things they'll work. And then the cool thing is, like, I have some right here. There's a green one and there's a blue one. So just like surfboards and other stuff, I can tint them and colorize them and get artistic with it.
So that's the net material. Is that the bezels there you just showed us? Are they made from the material that you
Yeah.
from the
So
nets?
this bezel is
Yeah.
all dirty, but and that's kind of how it comes out normally. But this dial also is right here,
the
the
dial as
dial on this
well.
one. Yeah, and so this one, we added a blue tint to it, just like you would tint a surfboard. And what's cool is all around the world, all the fishing net is all different a little bit. So it kind of almost has its own little DNA to it. As my future collections come out, you're gonna just see the nets from Phuket are different than the nets from Nicaragua, and they all have their own
Sure.
little color and in different points of like design to them. So it's really interesting.
Brilliant.
Own different identities on those. Okay, that's
Yeah.
really interesting. And then so the metal you just like I said, but going back to how did you pick out those particular metals? You just had the eye for it from your design background.
Well, it's bronze, and it's great bronze. It's beautiful. You know, if you've seen like highly perlaged boat propellers, you know, it's not much different than how you detail a nice bronze watch. We did have some issues with the chemistry behind marine bronze is not necessarily as um, refined as the chemistry behind industry bronze for watches. So we had to make sure through sort of a purification process and just testing and retesting in the laboratory that we didn't have any like high concentrations of nickel or lead or anything like that. But
Yeah.
in the end, the three different times the metal gets melted down, it purifies the metals that are an issue, and we ended up with passable test results. So that was good.
Awesome.
Brilliant. Bronze is bronze, you know. And marine bronze ages great in watches, is what we found out.
Yeah, it's really cool. Interested. So, how many watches would you get from one propeller?
Well, they're all different sizes. Right. I mean, if you got one, well, about a meter, that's probably going to make 30, 40 watches.
Your logo is really, really interesting, and I did see it had some kind. Well, for me, I found it had almost a Bali, you know, like Indonesian kind of style to it. Cool. But yeah, just where did the inspiration come from for the logo?
Well, our monogram logo, like this one right here. If I had to actually be the most accurate, I would say it just goes back to sort of like motorcycle, scooter, car culture as like a emblem. But also has a little bit of it. Like I tried to make it almost look like a bit of a Chinese character as well. You know, just spending so much time in Asia. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Japan and China and Thailand, all for different reasons, for work and education and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a little bit of a sneaky kanji in there.
Yeah, it does look like one actually. Yeah, it looks a lot like one.
Yeah, I just kind of want it to be something that I could go in the sand with, and it totally works for that. But yeah, it's kind of a mix of a invented kanji and something you'd see on like an Italian car or motorcycle or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So actually following on from that question, I'm glad Andy didn't ask. I thought he was going to. The name Sacred Crafts that you have, what was the inspiration for that? Because it sounds very mystical, maybe the Asian influence, or almost like Masonic in some ways. It's Sacred Crafts. What was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, so again, it's actually from surfboards. Growing up here and like really I just happened to work with some of the most legendary shapers and craftsmen that both design and shape the surfboard, but also build it and finish it. I mean, this place where I live, it's from Mexico to Los Angeles, couple 100 miles of the deepest surf culture there is, and the people inside the surfboard building community, we call it a craft. Not a lot of people who consume them and buy surfboards, they understand it's a craft, but not everybody does. It's gnarly. It's like building a custom car. the body, you know, or an airplane. And so it actually is a bit referred to within the surfboard industry as a sacred craft, because
Okay.
of just the approach of surfing to your life and the way it affects everything, both good and bad. You basically get addicted to it, and then you have to live on the coast and you live around what the tides and the wind and the surf's doing. That it's such a different lifestyle, and
Yeah.
it's pretty much motivated by what you think is sacred, and as sacred being as much time in the ocean as I can.
Oh, brilliant! So a heavy surfing influence there, then
It's
very heavy. Yeah.
yeah,
Or
very
completely.
heavy. Yeah, I'm sure other industries have their own, you know, ways they refer to themselves as, but the inside surfboards, it's referred to as a sacred craft. So this watchmaking, I think, is a sacred craft as well. I think you put your heart and your soul into it.
Yeah.
You know, there's copycat brands, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about driving either design or innovation in watches. There's people that have put their whole life into it, right? Like way more even time than I have.
Right.
And so when I started doing watchmaking, I really identified it as a sacred craft as well. And I just thought it was
Awesome.
a perfect mix-up with the name.
Just go back to the surfing community. Is that a big thing with the ocean preservation in the surfing community, or is it just a few of you that think that
No,
way?
I mean, the surfboard industry, from clothing to sandals to hard goods, everybody is behind sustainability and conservation.
Okay.
It's a massive global effort. I mean, it's not just the surf industry that's committed to it, but organizations like the Surfrider Foundation, they go, you know, way past the endemic industry of surfing, all the way out. So we are, you know, we're just a part of the solution, but this lifestyle in California and working in the surf industry, the companies behind it are absolutely committed to stewardship and conservation for sure.
Wow.
And I don't know that
Oh,
there's
okay.
enough watch companies that do that. So, you know, everybody can
Sure.
do more for sure.
Awesome.
Can we have a look at some of your model? Have you got which is the one that's in the book, Palm? The one with the one that's got the center links of the strap are kind of a different color. Does that
The fishnet, yeah.
the fishnet one?
Yeah,
I
the
remember
fishnet
seeing
one,
that
yeah.
on Giuseppe when Giuseppe showed the watch. I thought,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
that was I didn't know what model it was, but I remember seeing that, and I've just seen a bit on the internet of it earlier today. I thought,
So
yeah,
this is the strap.
Legend dial.
that's it.
Yeah, call this the
Yeah.
Grand Mare. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me grab that watch actually. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So,
wow.
let's see.
There we go.
That's
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
nice.
that's the watch. This is sort of the headlining act. That's why it's like the self-titled album. The watch silhouette's called the Grand Mare, and this is the Grand Mare of the Grand Mares.
Okay. And that's the
Okay,
that's
this is
bronze.
the-
You said that's bronze, is it? Is that bronze?
Oh yeah,
Or
all bronze. And then the green
Okay.
part you see is what we call sea glass. So you can see it's got this translucence and patina going on that you
Yeah.
kind of you're not really going to see in another watch.
Sure.
Okay.
As these
So-
things age, it gets pretty nice looking.
So how does that
Quite
bronze compare with normal bronze watches where you get, is it CSN 8 and 6, you know, the numbers 6 and 8, the content, you know, for
10 and
for the,
yeah.
the tin and that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? How does that compare to the typical ones that you buy, you know, the typical watches you buy, the bronze of the manufacturers? Does that patina quite a lot, or is it I mean, does it
Oh, yeah.
more so than any other? Because it's not. I mean, do you treat that bronze like other manufacturers do when they make bronze watches? Do you treat that in a normal way?
So the important thing about bronze, well, any metal, is that it passes the industry Ross testing,
Right.
which regulates the nickel, cadmium, heavy metals, leads, and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I don't really care too much about the like the chemical symbol breakdown, CNSU8 is sort of like an
Yes.
industry standard. We haven't
Right.
gone ahead. That's just a buzz term. I mean, I haven't gone ahead and named the chemical content
No.
in this. We absolutely passed all the tests that we need to pass in terms of sensitivity to the skin. That's standardized. People, person to person, are all different in terms of like how their skin reacts to bronze, and that's another
Right.
consideration. If I have a client that says they have a bronze sensitivity, then what I do is I actually put a clear zinc oxide plating on the inside of the bronze or anywhere that's likely to touch the skin. And
Right.
that's sort of the best you can do. It's sort of like a peanut allergy. Like they could still be like hypersensitive and then they're just not a bronze person. But we can go as far as like doing a protective coating. I can even do like vinyl, like clear vinyl, like wrap, like you do on a car on the inside of it to
Yeah.
keep the skin contact off. So we do all kinds of custom stuff. If people ask for it,
Cool.
then we figure that out. But back to your original question, it patinas a lot. It's great. I mean, you can see the two of these. This band is like I've surfed in it and worn it all around. And then the
Right.
watch is basically what the band looked like. This is new bronze right here on the watch.
Right.
So
Because I know that
Well-
between we mentioned about 6 and 8, one of them patina's more than the other. So I just wondered how. I know you haven't named them, but how that fits in. Whether that's
they
patina's
patina
more
like
than
like a mother. Yeah, it just
Right,
depends
got
on
ya.
what you do to it,
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the beauty of bronze is you can put it back with ketchup. So,
Yeah. Of course you
if
can. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I have like 3 customers and only 3 that are like they're like Marines and they like polish their bronze like it's
Mhm.
always brand new looking and I always make fun of them like, dude, the whole
Leave
thing
it.
is so it
That's
goes
not what it's
patina.
for. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just they won't do it, but whatever. Yeah,
I've
most
got-
everybody
I've got-
wants it to go all crazy, and it
Well, I've
does
got a
that.
bronze watch that I got a cheap one and I practiced with it and I used ammonia and salt and got it looking like it'd come out the sea in about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I played with it. Just did a maid and what I did. Trouble is, the first one I did was in the bathroom and it stunk the whole house out for months.
oh yeah, if
Yeah.
you use like a
Yeah.
hard-boiled egg to do the sulfur effect, it's pretty intense.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. The egg white, I just did it with ammonium and salt, but it was just like, yeah, pretty intense. It was amazing
Here's
what you can do with it. Yeah,
I don't know if you can see that with
Ooh.
my lighting,
Yes.
unfortunately, but like
Yeah, I can
The
see
left
different.
one.
yes,
Yeah,
Nice.
This is
patina,
brand
right?
new, and
Yeah.
this
yeah,
is
and the other one,
patina.
see
yeah,
that.
we can
So-
see
Yeah.
that. Yes,
Is
That's
that
pretty
for
good.
There you go. That's
Uh,
better.
blue legacy dial?
Yeah, so this is
Yep.
also made from those fishing boats. This is a
Awesome.
0.5
Alright.
millimeter veneer, and basically that's the original paint. So it's almost like pulling a layer of paint off with a teeny bit of
Sure.
wood fiber behind it, just to keep it all together, and then putting it on a dial.
Brilliant,
Not
yeah.
easy.
That legacy dial. There's a blue stripe in the legacy, and there's a green from the netting. What's the difference there? Why is that one green, and why is it just you've coloured it that way, or is it just the type of netting, or does that patina as well? Does that change in any way during its life?
Wait, I'm sorry. I think I lost you on the green stripe.
Oh, so on the legacy dial,
Yeah.
the netting, the links,
Oop.
they've got the 2 stripes, the 2 green.
Yeah. Boom, boom.
Yeah, so that's green there, and on your legend one, it's blue, right?
Yeah,
That's-
that's also wood.
Oh wow,
I've got, yeah. Here we go. Oh, you're gonna love this. This one is like a
Okay.
patina test. So that thing is.
Wow,
oh, that's
That's
well
Davy
done.
Jones' locker right there.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
really
Yeah,
cool.
he's going to
That's what
rewind
I
this
call
again
that
and
one.
again.
Yeah. So that's Davy Jones' locker patina. That center
Mhm.
stripe is made out of wood.
Oh
And
wow,
it matches the
Okay.
dial. So
Wow.
Yes. Okay. So that's
That's
not
awesome.
knitting then. That's wood.
yeah. So actually, of
Okay.
all my watches, all the bracelets are good to go in the ocean except for this one. You can like get it wet and like wash your hands with it, but this is a pretty thin wood part, and it's really the only part of our whole lineup right now that you can't go surfing or diving in. But that's why we include a rubber strap with it. So,
Okay.
Everything
cool.
is totally good to go and 300-meter rated.
Wow.
All the bracelets are actually especially like this one you wouldn't think, but it's great to go in the water with because it's a lot lighter and it's super stable.
What movements are you using in your watches, Matthew?
All ETA 2824. So
Nice.
we have the first 4 watches in the collection use the 28242 like entry level movement.
And
The
Elabor-
limited,
Yeah,
the limited edition Indies Trader watch that we have that comes in this crazy custom
Box.
Pelican case
Yeah.
Oh,
look
Uh,
at that.
and comes
Yeah.
with 5 different bezels. So
Oh.
this one we're actually using the top chronometer movement
Okay,
of
yeah.
the 28242. So
Yes.
it's even cooler, way more accurate. I mean, if you look up the accuracy, it's actually amazing compared to
Insane, yeah.
the difference. But it's also beautifully finished with perlage on all the movement back. So those are the 2 movements I'm using right now.
Okay. And
It's
how
awesome.
long have you been going as making these watches? How long the company been going then? Doing these
This
watches?
is our 2nd year on the market.
And is
2
business
years.
good? Is business pretty good, yeah?
Business is good. Yeah. I mean,
Good.
Headwinds on COVID and the world falling
Yeah.
apart. But besides that, the lights are on.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a different kind of watch. It's something. I mean, I've been saying the other day. I say it numerous times. I'm getting jaded with divers. You know, there's so many people out there making a diver. Everywhere we see somebody making a diver, and it's getting to be a bit samey. Well, not only does yours look different, they don't look like a standard sub, but of course the material they're made out of it is completely out there, completely different. So
unique, very unique.
Unique on different levels, so many different levels. You know, it doesn't even look like your standard diver that everybody else is making. Never mind what it's made of. So I applaud you for that. You know what I mean? You've gone out and made it look different as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we're just not even interested in making watches that look like other watches.
No,
Yeah.
I could do it in a second, but it won't.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Everybody else take note.
Yeah.
I think all I can say is it's not my first watch that I've made. I'm not really famous as a watch designer inside the industry or anything like that. So that the reason it's so different is I'm here in my life as a designer and happy enough to be able to do what I want to do and still.
Are they made to
sell some
order
watches.
then? Are they on the shelf? These watches. If anyone's watching and wants one, are they made to order, or can they put one on the
What's
shelf?
the price point as well? Yeah.
Everything I just showed you, we have in stock. We also do customized watches. If someone wants to buy one of our watches and has an idea about a new bezel or new dial or any embellishments, we do that. And we also take fully custom orders. Those take between 4 and 9 months, depending on what it is, to be honest.
So what sort of price point? Like the one you showed us with the one with the green and the which I really like.
So of our 4 first watches, this is the top of the line with the ETA 2824. It comes in the same box with extra bands and all the a detailed story certificate, everything. This one's $19.99. This comes with a 5-year warranty as well. Actually, all of our watches do.
$1,999. Yeah.
Yeah, 2,000 basically.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we run down to our next price point with the other bronze watch and this black one. Boop, boop. These guys right here. I'm so dyslexic with this camera thing. Sorry.
There you go.
That's
the only one. We do it all the
the
time.
same.
I do that every day. Yeah.
These are $15.99. They have the same warranty.
Brilliant.
They use the same movement. They come with a metal bracelet, a rubber band, and a leather band as well.
Sorry, that can stop with the black one. What material is the black one then? What's that?
So this one's you can see on the dial. The dial is our sea glass fishing net.
Yeah.
The case is plated stainless steel. The bezel is forged carbon fiber, as well as the crown guard.
Cool.
And on this one, the bracelet has a mix of, it's kind of retro style. That center stripe is sea glass as well. The two the two links on the other side are carbon fiber, and then the outside links are plated steel, like the case.
Right.
It's actually a super light watch for how much hardware is on it. So
So
this is our
you call that
lightest
sea
watch.
glass? Have you copyrighted that name, sea glass, as well? Have you?
Nope.
So no one else can. I think you should
Anyone
do that,
can
so
use
no one
it.
else can. Oh
No, you
well,
need to do it quick. Yeah.
Anyone can
Wow.
use it.
wow.
Yeah, I'm not going to waste my time trying to trademark sea glass. It's
Okay,
been around for a
that's-
long time.
I say, oh right, it's a known name within your industry. It's known as.
Yeah, I've
sea
never heard of it
glass,
either.
right.
To be honest with you, John.
I'd
Yeah,
never heard of it.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I made it up. Yeah. For that. Yeah, no one ever made any material out of fishing nets either. So,
Wow, no one
yeah.
else has done that. No, I thought I'd seen some microbrand watches made out of recycled fishing nets before now. Not at all. Have you? Did you start off as a proper microbrand? I'm sure
Yeah.
I have.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Man, I wish there was a huge company behind me, but no.
Right.
This is just.
Perhaps this is the one. Perhaps it is you have seen then. Because I seem to remember something that popped up maybe a year and a half ago. It must have been yourself then. If no one else has done this, it must have been you. Yeah.
Oh, I would say it's probably it. Yeah. I mean, there are a few watches on the market made from, it's a plastic case made from plastic bottles. Just a kind of lower end product. Cool. So there's plenty of that on the market, but in terms of our own proprietary material made from material we salvage, we're kind of the only one that even bothers doing that.
Wow, that's brilliant.
But yeah,
it's good that you do it.
Yeah.
Excellent. And then, it's good that you're unique as well.
This is not this fishing net material. This is surfboard fin material, but they're sort of processed the same way, where I make these plates and then they get milled down.
Wow.
So this is a sample material for bezels, which you can see that bezel right there.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, wow, yeah.
It's really cool.
And so when I make parts from materials like this, what's cool is none of them are the same. Like they just can't be, So it's kind of like there's no way. Like it just goes back to like looking like nothing else. Not even the same watch looks like the same as the other one.
So every piece is like a piece unique then. Yes.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
Yeah, that's really cool. But
Yeah.
I just had one question regarding the movement. So the level of finishing, I was really, really impressed with. So is that something like you do in-house, or is it something you like outsource at the moment?
All the finishing, well, the movements are obviously all made and assembled in Switzerland. All that finishing is done on that side in Switzerland as well.
Cool.
So I don't manufacture with, I don't assemble with ETA, but I buy the movements and then I have them customized. The rotor, that bronze part is basically, like I manufacture that separately. That's also from our reclaimed bronze.
Nice.
But the top chronometer grade of this movement, they actually come, well, you order them with perlage like that. So that's ETA's work right there. So it's super good.
Yeah.
Okay. It's beautiful.
Really
nice.
Yeah.
So Matt, I've got a question about you, not about the watches anymore. Just so I think you're more of a surf guy than a watches guy. I'd probably be right in saying that. But in terms of watches, do you collect? Not collect, but are you a big appreciator of watches, or you just thought it'd be a nice idea to start a watch company? Have you got like a few pieces that you? Okay.
Yeah. No. I'm about 10 years into watches. In terms of being a watch designer and a maker. So I don't know if I mentioned before that the company I helped grow before this was called Original Grain. We made some really unique watches with really different parts, lots of challenging wood parts. So I've seen and made, and I have some okay watches in my collection. I absolutely love watches and collect them. I don't have enough surfboards around here, but if you saw where my surfboards are.
Okay.
I don't collect shoes, but I do collect surfboards and watches. And a lot of it's to, have all the good reference, but let's see. Right now I put all my money into this company, and when that starts paying off, my watch collection is going to get even better.
Okay, so you're a big watch guy then. That's watchman talk.
Yeah.
I love watches for sure. Yeah. It's not just a job. But I mean 10 years, honestly, there's people with 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So I definitely humbly accept that I'm only 10 years in. But it's still long enough to know if you love it and to carve out a little space for yourself.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's nice to know. Really good to know. Thank you.
So a part 2, right? We do a part 2 with a collection. Your personal
we do a collection review next.
Collection review next.
Show some of your pieces. Yeah.
I got to next time. I got to get them out of dry storage.
We'll
arrange something for sure.
Everybody for watching. And I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Thank you.